wonderful devotees from Shira Maya. One is His Grace Ajidananda Prabhu, disciple of His Holiness Radhana Swami Maharaj. Prabhu is a brahmachari who has been educated from Mayapur Gurukula. He took his initiation from His Holiness Radhana Swami Maharaj. He learned chanting of sacred hymns of Vedic scriptures of Sri Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya from his spiritual master, and also obtained further practical education in Vedic scriptures from his instructing spiritual master, His Holiness Bhakti Vidyabhana Swami Maharaj in Biripur. As researcher, he had performed research in Vedic scriptures and assisted in re-establishing of ancient Vedic library and reviving traditional education by preparing collection of Vedic teachings for students of Sri Rupanuga Paramarthika Vidyapati traditional Vedic Gurukula established by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhu is a teacher and is teaching Vedic scriptures and monastic products and to young students. So, and Prabhu is, because we are heard about Gurukula, but we don't know what is Gurukula, how they are performing and everything. And I requested Prabhu to speak about Gurukula, his wonderful days in Gurukula, and as a teacher, how we can nurture the children in Gurukula and so many other things. And today we are also very fortunate to have this grace. Deva Dharma Prabhu is an amazing Kirtaniya. You all know very well.
Yes, Prabhu.
He is the disciple of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. From the young age, his desire is to become a Kirtaniya by the mercy of Sri Radha Mata. He wants to sing in front of the deities. Finally, it is decided by the Lordship mercy. He is a very good Kirtaniya. He is teaching many children Kirtan and instruments. He just came from Dalgram Desh, teaching instruments for last 1 month, and he came here. So today, so first we will do a Kirtan for some time, and after that we can hear from His Grace Ajidananda. Okay. Thank you all for and we welcome and chant 3 times for both wonderful devotees. Hare Krishna, Hare 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 Krishna, Hare 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 Hare.
गुड आनंदे। बहुत धन्यवाद सभी को। सब हिंदी समझ सकते हैं ना? मेरा मदर लैंग्वेज हिंदी नहीं है, मेरा मदर लैंग्वेज इंग्लिश भी नहीं है। मेरा मदर लैंग्वेज बंगाली है, तो यहाँ पर तो कोई बंगाली नहीं है, तो मेरे को हिंदी में बात करना पड़ेगा। और कुछ हिंदी का गलती हो जाएगा तो मेरे को माफ कर देना। तो श्रीरंग प्रभु में उनको वो साल से जानता हूँ। जब मैं बाहर आता हूँ तो एक बार मैं यहाँ पर उनसे दर्शन करके जाता हूँ। मैं प्रभु का चरण दर्शन करके मैं जाता हूँ। तो हरे
प्रभु की।
तो मेरा गुरु महाराज का यही आदेश है, जो कीर्तन का हमारा डिपार्टमेंट है मायापुर में, आप लोग जानते हैं। मैं 2000 में ज्वाइन किया, तो वहां से ही शुरू हुआ मेरा कीर्तन करना। लेकिन पहले से मेरा पिता और मेरा माता और मेरा दादाजी सब पूरा फैमिली कीर्तनिया is my family is Kirtania. So I'm born in Kirtania family. So small time I started to play mridanga and kirtan, bhajan. Then when I'll come to Mayapur, then I see there is wonderful for me this seva. So yeah, we have seva for me. So I always, when I take training, new devotee training, and always, every day my only one prayer. I pray to Radha Madhav. I try to stay with your front. I will chant the holy name in front of you. So if they accept, then I'm doing starting Kirtan in Radha Madhav 2000. And after I started to more learn bhajan, Kirtan. Then after 2012, I started to teach. But before, I don't have anything to, I become a teacher. I don't have any mood to teach. I thinking I'll be learn, I'll be sing. But after Guru Maharaj one day, he told me, you can teach someone. You'll good kirtanya, so you go some around, then you go to some West country, you can teach. I said, Guru Maharaj, this is 2004 story about. So I thinking, Guru Maharaj, this is now not have my capacity to teach someone. Must I learn? But Guru Maharaj told to me this time. So I 2012 by traveling all over the world start my journey now continue here. So please bless me. So I do continue service for holy name and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the main mission Sankirtanandalam. It I go to Anande. So please.
Laptop leaker need.
No, 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 no.
So we can take coding.
Yeah, because
We can move this a little in front. Aagi ko nahi aa raha.
You can keep a little bit there, the balance. Yes.
how because
Oh, it's hiding.
because need to
Okay. Uh,
Prabhuji, better
sit
in
down.
Prabhu sit here.
And sit down.
Prabhu, you sit.
Because we can
Prabhu.
manage.
Yeah. Yeah, this is okay. Yeah, both of them are covering and
My students.
what?
I stand. Yeah. Good sound. Everybody told this sound. Good sound. Amazing. Small but it's very nice. Hari Naam Sankirtan ki Mayapur Dham ki. Today we bring to Mayapur here. Okay? I need Prabhu the mercy. We'll bring here Mayapur. Namayam Vishnu Padaya Vishnu Prem Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Samine Tina Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Prachate Devi Sri Navadi Vasantale Sata He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopi Sudapika Radhakanta Namo Taptakanchana Gopuranki Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Visavanu Sute Devi Namami Hare Priya. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara all together loudly please. Shri Krishna Anya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Rama. Everyone, please. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare. Please, together, loudly. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Rama. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Go. Hare Krishna. Hare Hare Rama. Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna. प्रेम से गोली चाले भगवान नाम रूप में अवतीर्ण हुआ है। चैतन्य महाप्रभु गोलकर प्रेम धन हरिनाम संकीर्तन। This is not for material any mantra. Is that गोलक प्रेम गोलक वृंदावन से आया है। हरिनाम कहाँ से आया है? गोलक वृंदावन। और भगवान से और भगवान नाम से कोई अंतर नहीं है। नाम रूपे कोली काले कृष्ण अवस्था नाम होते है सर्व जगत विस्तार। तो प्रेम से गाइए मेरे से बोले हरे कृष्ण One more time, please. Hare Gorango. Hare Krishna. Hare Rama. Hare Heavenly. Everyone, please. Look at that. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Hare Bolo bolo. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Sankirtan ki jai, Pavan Gurnitai ki jai, Govindanande.
Hare Hare Bol. Because after the provision, it's okay. So now we are going to have a provision. Can you make co-host? Devon, spotlight me. Spotlight me.
Very much grateful to our hosts and Sri Krishna Prabhu for a kind invitation to be tonight with all of you. And I'm more than happy to be with Deva Dharma Prabhu. Actually, I will reveal one thing to you. Whenever I would come somewhere, they just said, Deva Dharma Prabhu left, he's coming.
Oh, Bari, no?
Also, before some years. So now,
After
some years, it's we are planning a mission.
Okay,
Outside of Mayapur.
So maybe the this is one of the what you call
Special
time
place,
you
special.
got each other and able to participate together.
Yes.
Very good.
Prabhuji always Mayapur busy with Gurukul boys.
Mm.
So I'm always busy in Kirtan because they are always coming in all the festival. I see Prabhu and we'll go to Gurudwara, but very difficult to talk. Prabhuji busy some about some to Arati, different.
But I will say one another thing that Deva Dharma Prabhu is speaking by his Kirtan. Just by Kirtan, he is speaking. Last Janmashtami, it was one Kirtan, and it was wonderful. You know, when you're really immersed in holy name and something touches in your heart, and I turn around to see and I saw Deva Dharma Prabhu singing. And then, actually, you can see someone's consciousness from singing. How Prabhu is so much immersed in Harinam Sankirtan. So we are very much fortunate and grateful to be in his association.
And we are very fortunate, both of us together here.
Yeah, fortunate to my Krishna have planning because I don't spoke to you in Mayapur, don't have time. But Krishna have planning to work together. We'll see you together talking to about Krishna.
But now we can give out that Mayapur will associate.
Very
I was on the way to Europe, and on the way to Europe, I realized that I need to speak about Gora Katha and Gora Lila in order to maintain my consciousness, because in the Dham, you get so much blessings that even without your efforts, you can be Krishna conscious in a nice way. But outside, you need to put so much of efforts. So it's always my, for my own protection and purification, I like to speak about Chaitanya Charitamrita, Gora Katha, and now the Dhamma-Hatmya and other scriptures. So especially now in the presence of Dhammvasi.
Dhammvasi is very important for our consciousness.
Yes.
Because I always stay in Dham, but not so much engage my mind in Dham. I always try to how to teach, how to go, how to give class. And when I'll go outside, and I remember, oh, I don't see, I'm missing, I'm missing, I go yoga page, Jagannath. So that is, I remember that Dham is so important to our consciousness. We are stayed Dham, but our consciousness not have involved to our Dham Mahatma. So not, but outside the people are staying, but they're always thinking, when will you go to Mayapur? When will you go to Vrindavan? To take darshan Radha Madhav, we'll take Dandavat, Parikrama, everything. So this is more important. So much.
Yes. Wonderful realization. Sometimes it's better to go in or out of Dham than we remember the glory.
Yes, perfect.
And the best way is always to preach and glorify the Dham and Teach it. service. No, what to say about should we find them?
It's just little.
Then it's more better to take
Okay, no. So the camera will be from here, and you can use for.
There and
No, they're always perfect. Okay.
It's okay.
still there are some obstacles. No? So voices. So you Vairagya, we can use not everything is always auspicious, no? So we use Vedic. And Vedic is more natural, and if we have such a how to say wonderful with Krishna, then we don't need Wi-Fi. Deva can connect everyone with Krishna. So I'm not sure the Prabhu at Gurukul, but Prabhu would be the perfect example of Gurukul graduate. He devoted, learned in one of the specialized in one of these Sanga using perfectly in Harinam Sankirtan. So it's like graduate of Gurukul.
You're giving me the certificate. I did.
I think that all the work is certified, and Maharaj also, Jayapataka Maharaj certified many times. So that would be the main, that one of us is the person have conditioned nature and have his own constitution nature, but conditioned nature we like to do something, and we in Daivi Varnashram we learn about ourselves. Vidya starts by learning how we are conditioned, what are our tendencies, our swabhava, dharma, and how to purify that in Krishna consciousness, but learning how to please Krishna. Therefore, Bhagavat Vidhi Pancharatri is so in Vedic education we are not using only one of the two. Both together must be there. As we see, if we use material in illusion, it is Jiva Maya. But if we just go spiritual, we are imitating because we cannot satisfy the material needs, and society cannot develop. So, just on Friday, we have been celebrating invasion of ISKCON, and it's very interesting how Srila named International Society of Krishna Consciousness, or Krishna Consciousness, but International Society. So what is that society? So it's Daivi Varnashram. Because society means Daivi Varnashram, scriptures is Srimad Bhagavatam, and that's different from Sadhusanga. We use our tendencies to please Krishna. That's actually because of our variety of something we don't know how to engage ourselves in that way. So some of the fields and the aspects of learning in Gurukul. Actually, before that, I think I would need to say something more also in Rupa Nuga Paravartika Vidyapit, because it's very important. We're saying these things about identity of Gurukul. Everything else is just technical things, and it's can be useless actually. So why Rupa Nuga? Why we are Rupa Nugas and need to be Rupa Nuga? Or Manjari. We know from scriptures that even in Vraja Lila, Krishna was not satisfied and then fulfilled 3 desires. When he was observing himself, he had this that he's attracted to his own form. So he was thinking, what is the witness really seeing him? Madhurya she said. Then what love she had for him and serving him. And what bliss she is experiencing answering with love. So this is Lord Krishna was fulfilled, and therefore he appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Radha Bhava Gora, in the complexion of golden in the mood of Srimati Radharani. So the Supreme Masculine Paramusha is trying to experience the experience of Prakriti, Daivi Prakriti, Bhakti, feminine experience, and how is she experiencing more bliss than him? Because we said secondary enjoyer is more than primary. When someone is, for example, dancing on stage, the audience is reaching more rasa aswada than the performer. Maybe he's sweating more, or it's dancing is hard work. But the audience, spectators, they are enjoying more. In the same way, Krishna wants to be a spectator and experience this, so therefore he's in Bhakti Bhav. And these 3 desires is very difficult to understand, and none of us will be able to understand without the Srila Rupa Goswami. And Srila Rupa Manjari, who in spiritual world is intimately listening Radha Krishna and Sats Lalita. So he knows the mind of Krishna and Radha Krishna have on Ratha Yatra heard Chaitanya singing, reciting one verse from Sakya Dharpana, work on the Kavya Shastra. It was glorifying gopis and in the mood of separation, Kurukshetra. So, at Kurukshetra, gopis they were attracted by Krishna's flute, by the sound of the flute, and therefore reciting this verse. So by this verse, Rupa Goswami have write down another verse explaining the same points and left on the cut, Talapatra. And then Swarup Damodar Goswami has seen this Talapat and given to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was astonished. How are you able to understand my mind? Because it's such an intimate thing, something you don't share with others. No? So it's the most intimate thing. And he was really much astonished. So he asked actually all Vaishnavas, as Vaishnavas, to bless Rupa Goswami to write books, Gaudiya Vaishnavism, and explain Sanatana Dharma from this perspective. So this saying took seriously brought by Bhakti Samhita Sindhu, Ujjwalin Lamani Vidagdhava, Lalita Madhava, and all the acharyas after him have just re-established the same teachings. We see the of different acharyas, and you will find there Rupanugas, Rupanuga Varayate for Bhaktivinoda Thakur and for Bhaktisiddhanta also. And so the Rupa Goswami is the mind of and desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Manodishta Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa. So Sri Chaitanya Mano is knower of his mind, and he has established a mission to fulfill desire. And that desire is to spread Harinam Sankirtan all over the world, and also to taste the mellows of spontaneous devotional service. Because Lord Chaitanya have said, and it's written in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Rasa Niryasa Korite Ashvadana, Raga Korite Loke Pracharana, that he have come to taste the mellows of Godhead. Prema Rasa Niryasa Korite Ashvadana, and then Raga Margapati Loke Pracharana, and preach this spontaneous devotion to Loka, to people in general. And we know that it's not discriminating. So everyone can accept the path of devotional service, purify by Vaidhi Bhakti, and become receptor of spontaneous devotional service in association of sadhus, sadhu Sanga. So we see the Srila was also given the same knowledge by giving nectar of devotion, nectar of instruction, and Srila Prabhupada was many times privately singing Shri Rupa Manjari, Shad Goswami Ashtaka. He is that Rupa mood also, and all followers of Srila Prabhupada are following in the same mood. So education in Gaudiya Vaishnavism should be on that basis. And Lord Chaitanya have only said, Apani Achari, Bhakta Amrita. Actually, Bhakti Shikram Shavara. That in order to teach, first to practice by yourself. So he, in order to teach, he have accepted the mood of Srimati Radharani. And then what he's teaching that actually, without distinction. It's all available to us. It's such a wonderful opportunity, giving something which none other incarnation had given in the past. Avatars or any other incarnation who have come, he is giving something which no one have given in the past. He is saying, Anarpita Chiram Chirat, Karunavatirna Kala, Samarpito Unatojvala Rasa Swabhaktim Shriyam. And for long time, should not given this Anarpita, Arpana, Anarpana, Chiram Chirat. For a long time, he have not given this. And what he have not given, Ujvala Rasa, the highest of in Parakya. And that is the speciality of Sampradaya, to serve Krishna in separation. Gaudiya Vaishnava even want to serve Krishna strictly. They want to serve Srimati Radharani. They want to serve other Vaishnavas, and we can do that always, everywhere, in Haridesh, in Namadesh, in Gurangadesh, anywhere. So we can always serve Krishna, his devotees, and he's saying the one who is devotee of my devotee is my actual devotee. So in that way, actually, Gaudiya Vaishnavas are not even trying to be in proximity to Krishna. We are more Radha Dasya than Krishna Bhaktas. And we Srimati Radharani in relationship with Krishna, not separately. We become Shaktas, no? We serve Devi without Devi. So the mood of Sampradaya is this, and the educated being the same. And therefore, on the basis of this, Sadhu Sangha is the most important association of devotees. And through association of senior devotees, those sadhus who can be teachers, we also can get that in our hearts and purify ourselves. Always desire to associate with highly elevated Vaishnavas, and that way whole ISKCON is Gurukula. Not important that we are joining the Gurukula as a small child, a small boy. And we have opportunity to learn scriptures, same standards of Pancha, same social system, Daiva Varnashram, so it's not important. So that's the Vaishishya, the speciality of Gurukula. I can say some things. The whole teaching plan is based on Srimad Bhagavatam, 10 canto in Gurukula Muni, and the Lord Chaitanya as a teacher in Chaitanya Charita, how he from teaching grammar, Paravidya, to teaching theology, philosophy of theology, the Paravidya. So for Ramachandra, we can see the things from Guru, from Lord, from Lord Chaitanya even more, because he was teaching as an example. Of course, Lord Krishna, Lord Rama are always assembly, but Lord Chaitanya is in Bhakta Bhav. So directly we actually need to learn how to be devotee. So this whole Gurukul is to make us devotees, Shuddha Bhakta devotee. At least strive for that in this life. And the blessings of Guru Varanga finally achieve that. So Lord Chaitanya as the role model of devotee, because in ancient times children would learn all knowledge in one book, from one scripture, from Ramayana, Mahabharata, Vana, in Bengal, Chaitanya Bhagavat, Chaitanya, and these books are full of different kinds of knowledge, and there's any need for any practical, and other scriptures are used. But the character of personality is something that person is growing with. If he is not growing the character of saintly person, then it will grow with the character of Cristiano Ronaldo. Or tell me someone else who is popular. Someone in India, Virat Kohli, maybe he could go. He cricket player. Yeah. Some people who are popular, but maybe not a good character. Charitra is very important. Therefore, Chaitanya Charita, the nectar of Lord Chaitanya, he was personally serving sadhana. He was personally serving Vaishnavas in different ways. And we see that he was not posing as someone high, and that is something very unique in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, which we have Pancha Tattva, Eka Vastu Pancha Tattva. They are one substance, total absolute truth in 5 forms. And although Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu are most by age, they worship Lord Chaitanya, but he never accepts and he worships them. It's never about superiority. Hinata Mahatva. It's always about worshipping others, doing others please. We see among Goswamis, not Lord, but Sanatana Goswami was the eldest, than Rupa Goswami at least. He was worshipping Goswami singing. But Rupa Goswami would never accept his brother Sanatana. So we always see this, and that is actually Sadhu Sanga, that is actually ISKCON, that is Gurukul, that we should always serve in that way. So many things are from Srimad Bhagavatam 10 Canto, I think 83rd chapter. You can learn a lot just from few statements in Srimad Bhagavatam. The relations between Krishna, Sandipani Muni, and the Sudama as his friend, how Krishna was dealing with schoolmate after the graduation in school, how trying to collect the wood, so means sacrificing the pleasure of a teacher, offering everything for the pleasure of teacher. how he has teach parents before going to Gurukul. That was the syllabus, and it was written that Krishna Balaram, being the Kshatriyas from Mathura, they were learning curriculum for Kshatriyas. The curriculum for Kshatriyas was Anvikshiki, a sense of thinking, Arastra, it is the statecraft, then Nyaya Shastra, we need to know logic for law, civic acts, Dhanurveda, as Kshatriyas, they need to learn how to fight, and the commerce is part of Artha Shastra. So for Kshatriyas, is this. For another Dharma, it's another type of knowledge. We cannot force our children to learn what is most profitable. These children will never be fulfilled and satisfied life. Financially, they'll never be satisfied. They'll never become Atmarama, Nishkama Karma, yogi, and have peace of mind. So just from these few statements, we learn a lot. Then it was written what was the curriculum of Krishna. It was Chaturdasha Vidyasta, 14 books of Vedic knowledge, Chaturveda, Shadvedanga, and Chaturupanga. Chaturveda, Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharva Veda. Then we have 4 Upavedas, Ayurveda, Stapana Veda, Samaveda, and Dhanurveda. Then 6 Vedangas. Shiksha is the phonetics, how to pronounce Vedic syllables in classical Sanskrit and Vedic Sanskrit. Then Chanda Shastra is prosody, how to recite in the meter. Then Nirukta, vocabulary, dictionary. Then Vyakarana is the grammar. Then Jyotish is having so many sub-branches, the math, astronomy, Ganita Shastra, Jyotish Shastra, so many I could enumerate. Then Kalpa Shastra is the science of rituals and the yagyas. Shrota Sutra, Smarta Sutra, so many are inside. Then Chaturupanga, including Mimamsa Shastra, philosophy, Nyaya, logic, then Dharma Shastra, civic acts, how to be a proper citizen, and Purana, the exemplary personalities from history, where the students is learning about the persons in the past and what was their character. So that is why we learn history. It's not about events like in modern history. We learn about personalities and their character, and through that character we know what was the time in the past and how we can learn from their mistakes. Just on the way, Prabhu was mentioning how in Gandhara, present day Afghanistan, they were descendants of Gandhari, Devi, and nowadays we see the traces like of Duryodhana. So we can learn from this mistake, and not to repeat the same. So in a military way, in the economical way, in the political way, So this is why we learn Puranas and Itihasas. We learn the Vamshas. Surya Vamsha is the Ramayana and Krishna Chandra Vamsha, but the Pandavas are Kuru Vamsha, Kuru dynasty. Yeah, anyway, there also we learn the character of personalities in Itihasas. We learn how great kings used to behave. It's very alluring and aspiring, to hear about Raja Rishis, to be exemplary person and protect Dharma. So it is invoking in us some noble thoughts. In India is the place where the most noble and subtle emotions and thoughts are preserved. So, the histories and the final history book is Srimad Bhagavatam. Is showing how great personalities devotees have used this knowledge for pleasure of Krishna. How Maharaj Yudhishthira was ruling the whole kingdom for the pleasure of Krishna as per his instructions, for his purpose. It is said that Maharaj Yudhishthira didn't have any personal ambition except to serve Krishna and citizens in his kingdom. Can you imagine how the world would be wonderful with such a ruler? So this is the original curriculum. It came even from time of Lord Brahma. It's written in third canto, then repeated in 10th canto, and then in a few other places also it's written that is there. Of course, ashram, the relationship between the student and a teacher and other students is something very unique, and without connection between the teacher and student, there cannot be transmission of knowledge. And since we are Rupanugas, I would say that the best way to learn the way of teaching is to understand Natya Shastra. Yes. Is the method of presentation, Vedic method of presentation. And over there is written the one concept of Sahridaya, the common-heartedness. The actor is Abhivyanjayati, he is enacting the bhava which he is experiencing, the state of mind which he is experiencing, and while enacting, the spectator is relishing this rasa svadana, and in that moment, when he is relishing the same state of consciousness, the transmission of knowledge and experience is there, called Sahridaya. So the same is applied in education. The teacher is like an actor who is fully realized in the pure state of mind, and while serving, working, he is transmitting knowledge to a student, and student seeing this teacher as exemplary, then he's imbibing the same mood. So that would be the unique concept for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, how to connect. It's said that Gurukula is like a womb and teacher is like a mother, and the pubic cord is instruction and affection of the teacher. That's from Atharva Veda, one Brahmachari Sutta. So student must be nourished by a teacher. So also the relationship with friends must be there, because if you don't have a relationship with friends in ashram, then it's difficult to exist there. The experience can be very dry, but kids can very easily find friends. So it's very suitable in that age, for kids to be in Gurukul. And in our Gurukul, we don't put kids as per age. We put them as per their own speed of development, and our method of teaching is tutorial system, not classroom system. So someone who is very fast, in 1 year he will learn the curriculum of 2 years. For someone who is very slow, in 2 years he will learn curriculum of 1 year. And if there will be classroom environment, then those who are very fast are bored and they don't have challenge, they don't like to learn. And those who are slow, they feel depressed, overburdened, mentally in anxiety of exams and like that. So all this didn't exist in Vedic times, because teachers were mentors, tutors, like Prabhu is doing one-on-one or 3 students, 10 students. Each teacher should have 10 students in Gurukula and then teach in that way. Then your method of teaching and technique is nicely absorbed by student, and you see when is he pressing wrong, or key, or the swara, or the alankara, or vadi vivadi, or whatever, he knows much better now. So that is the method of teaching, to have small groups and then teach in that way. Otherwise, it's very difficult to have that connection. So the students doesn't have that pressure also of being overburdened by too much of knowledge and no experience of that. So Brahmacharya Ashram, Chaturdasha Vidyas, and third aspect is Swadharma Vidya, specialization, where a person with time, after the age of 12, 13, when he comes to puberty, then Pitta or the fire is more prominent in his life, and he starts to think more like a man. He gets mustache, more muscles. He thinks, oh, now I can do things. He's more practical. He can cook. He can do this, that. Then he starts to think about what he can do. Like Prabhu said, very good. With 12, you said?
Yeah.
You see, exactly that age. He knew already, Kirtan is my life and soul. So we should redirect our children. What is their Swadharma Svabhava? And Srila Prabhupada said in 76 in Mumbai that devotee should learn something about everything and everything about something. Everything about something is general education, and something about everything is specialization, like in music, in Jyotish, or general class, or puja, or can be also martial art. We are trying to establish full Vidyapita where all 14 books of Vedic knowledge will be taught, but for now we have some limited disciplines of knowledge taught in Gurukul. So, but some person needs to be specialized in something, and it's good to give person on how we call that we send students to live in some temple abroad or in India in some big temple and see how they are actually doing and managing themselves outside of Gurukul experience. I'm forgetting the name. Not exchange, but like apprenticeship, but there is another name. But that is the internship. Yes, thank you. Internship. Yes, I was writing that down, but I forgot at that time. So internship, where they are trying to experience the unknown environment, even in foreign countries, and see how they are in a real life situation dealing. Because education must be the replica of real life. Otherwise, it's not practical. No? Modern education is creating people who are unemployable. They learn so much, they cannot do anything with it. No practical skills, no experience in the field. No? And therefore, for employment, they always ask you, what's your work experience? No? But in Gurukula, it was not like that. You have whole education experience. For example, one boy was managing in Gurukul. He was head boy, and then he became temple president. He said, "It's so easy for me. I was having a group of small boys, always running around, not wanting to do service, and now I have adult devotees and trying to serve them as manager. It's so easy." So we learn many skills in that way. Once I wrote a whole list of things which we didn't learn in our schools, but it's very important for us, for life. For example, cooking, or dancing, or communicating, serving, having the service attitude, many mental attitudes. We never learn these things. So our education is very much industrial, is creating us in the, let's say, in equal way, to this egalitarianism, that everyone is equal, and then the speciality of person is not expressed, and then we are depressed, because of that. So creating us, putting us in some system where we will not think too much, will work for money, and be satisfied with this. But education is not at all about that. Education is about penetrating into reality, from Asat to Sat, from Tamas to Jyoti, from Rita to Amrita, Asatomasat, Dhamma, etc. So what is reality? Education should deal with that. And kids are very good actually in understanding Vedanta. You would be surprised. The concepts, because inherent ability of consciousness is Satchitananda. So Veda means knowledge. What is knowledge? Knowledge is experience or consciousness. Knowledge is not words or letters in the books. Knowledge is, excuse me? Not theoretical. Yes. Knowledge is conscious experience of living being, of pure living being. So Veda is the experience of Rishi, pure Rishi or devotee, and Supreme Being, Lord Krishna. So then this written down becomes no Veda. So, but the consciousness have three faculties, Satchitananda, and in educating we need to know actually this and approach in that way that students have a capacity to learn what is reality. Once I asked students of philosophy class, where education happens. So some said in Gurukul, some said in classroom, some said everywhere. And one boy said, real exact answer, in consciousness. External situations are just helping us to learn about ourselves. But education really happens in consciousness. Matter cannot learn. Matter has some purpose when we apply that purpose. We use this wood for a chair, can be a bed, can be a table, no? But so consciousness is recognizing and creating that purpose from within. Of course, Krishna is giving jnana smriti apohanam cha, and we are learning, of course, within. So consciousness is having this capacity to learn. So Vedic education always means conscious education. Sometimes people are saying in the world there is quality-based education, but real education is conscious-based education. And consciousness is individual, and consciousness is also perception. When we have individual perception, when we have individual consciousness, that means perception. All of us are seeing this harmonium in different way. You're seeing from that side, we are seeing from this side. Some can hear in better ways, some in not so much developed ways. So consciousness means perception, and perception means individual. So we need to approach student individually. Therefore, Swadharma Vidya, the specialization for a student, and until he comes to graduation, he needs to become autonomous. For young children, we teach always teacher and student together. First, like maybe even 5 to 7 years, from age 5, 6 to 12. That's like just teaching directly to student. Then we have mentoring, when teacher knows that student can have some autonomy. He can do some task alone, because for so many years you were doing with him together, and now you know how much he knows and how much he can do. But towards the end, it's just tutoring. You, from time to time, observe the student, just like supervising and giving some advices and blessings and like that. So till the end of Gurukul, student must be fully autonomous and prepared for living in so many practical ways. So there's the third one, and the fourth one is Chaturshashtakala, 64 arts. Learning different arts in order to be engaged in Krishna service for festivals, learning how to decorate, learning how to also sing, to play different instruments. Mantras doesn't. These mantras are in Shiksha, that part. But for example, since we speak Vedic poetry, for example, to create poetry in different ways. Like Rupa Goswami was expert and genius in creating poetry. Prahelika, it's called. Creating verses in mind. So that's one of the arts. creating enigmatic verses and things like that. So it's also how to say, complementary and fulfilling to learn arts, because in Vedas we always see the science which we learn inside, the understanding, and there is art which we express. So it's not just either science or art. We always have both. We have the science of music in Sanga Shastra, but the expression is always individual, and the mood, the person is uplifting himself. So expression is always must be there. It's not just science or art. And I believe that Prabhu is always teaching first swaras and alankaras, that's the science, and then later improvisations are there, and different melodies, ragas, etc. So these are the 4 fields of curriculum, and I'm looking at the watch. I can
It's 20 minutes. Exactly, it's 9 now.
Stop in 9.
No, the time is 9.
Time is 9. Okay.
Now 9.
9. Yeah. I understand. But I will ask you for suggestion. Should I continue, or what is the planned schedule?
You have Mangalarti tomorrow, and he is also supposed to go to Saudaridesh.
Just now.
Now, after the Prasadam, he has to
1.5 hours. Oh yes.
1.5 hours. Yeah,
So,
right.
Yes.
And moreover, Prabhu has back-to-back program tomorrow. There is Mangalarti, then Damodar program, then evening.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. I was looking there, and
So
I cannot
before
start
ending,
speaking.
I want, because all the devotees are a little bit sleepy,
Uh-huh.
so energetic, we have a small 10 minutes kirtan.
Uh-huh.
But we will have some question answer.
Yeah, maybe
yes,
short.
yes, yes.
Maybe short. Prabhu, thank you.
Please.
Yeah. No, anybody has any questions, please? Yes, please ask.
Prabhu, as we had in the previous class, Atmaram and Rasaraj. Bhagavan is Atmaram and he is Rasaraj. So as we are part and parcel, as Grahasthas, how we can able to mold that way.
Atmaram and Rasaraj.
Yeah. Is Atmaram, and at the same time he is with different rasa, with different devotees.
Yes.
Melodies, very nicely.
So the Lord is Parama Purusha, and we should take his example. Being self-satisfied within ourselves spiritually, as masculine and as male, being self-satisfied spiritually, and engage ourselves in relationships, rasamai, as per needs of those who are dependent on us. Feminine is dependent. So masculine is always acting with feminine in her own mood. So just one maybe quick question. If man comes home and he's seeing that nothing is cooked, everything is dirty, kids are running around, and it's a complete mess, and he becomes angry and he shouts and out of his mind. So is he masculine or feminine? Masculine. Actually, it's feminine. Because he's not Atmarama, he's not self-satisfied and independent. Real masculine is acting completely different. He's thinking, what have I done that this have happened? That's leader, that's manager. What have I done? Man means action. Krishna is the first one acting always. Man means action, woman means reaction. So he must done something wrong that this have happened. So, but most of the men nowadays would say this is masculine actually. It's not actually. You are too emotional and dependent on your emotions, therefore you are feminine, dependent on situation. So man should be within himself, Nishkama Karma Yogi, satisfied and act however things comes. Therefore man can always be non-disturbed. At least we should try.
I think those who are practicing Krishna consciousness, they don't behave like that.
You're saying?
They don't behave like that.
Ah, we are not shouting. No? I'm right? Yeah.
They always help in their family life.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It's like maybe just short one, another question.
How do you define consciousness?
How do I define?
Consciousness.
I will define Satchitananda, and the modern science cannot give the definition because they think in wrong way. We have always Lakshana and Lakshya in Vedic philosophy. You understand one object by his own characteristics, Lakshana. For example, the piece of soil, we know by quality that it's solid, it's solid, and we have fragrance. And so it's Shakti and Shaktiman. Shakti is the fragrance, and Shaktiman is behind. So you cannot separate them. So what is consciousness? Consciousness is awareness of a sentient being.
Is it same as realization?
Is it same? And not how we are using in ISKCON. In ISKCON we use sometimes Krishna's, how to say, revelation or something as a realization, or someone is in ecstasy, he says he's having realization. For example, someone having injury, he says, oh, the material world is full of miseries. It doesn't have anything to do with consciousness. Realization. To realize means to manifest yourself, to actualize on transcendental platform. No? Realization and actualization are synonyms, but the realization intellectually can be just a process, can be in intellect. Yeah.
But wouldn't like complete consciousness lead to realization?
Yeah, as I said, in ISKCON we use differently. Complete consciousness leads to complete realization of living being. Complete realization means his own Swarupa, eternal form in service of Krishna. Swarupa and his own Swarupa. That's realization. When consciousness is fully self-realized. Yes, Satchitananda is consciousness. Okay, without any delay, Prabhu, please lift our consciousness.
Wonderful class. Thank you so much.
Shri Ajindananda Prabhu ki Vishwanatha Swami Maharaj ki Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Har Premanande.
Should I? If you want, you can stay. Chant.
10 minutes.
10.
Meantime, they will arrange the prasadam.
You chant the holy name, everything, Prabhuji, what is he said, you got it. 100%. Correct?
Yes.
So please chant with me deeply and with feeling the heart. Krishna is appear in front of you. The holy name. He dancing your tongue. You must feel. Otherwise it's not working. Like a parrot. Parrot is talking but don't understand what is the meaning. So try.
Yes.
I don't have quality to bring. But we support, everyone support me, then we'll go. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Krishna
जिसके देवदान प्रभु की प्रभुपाद की जिसके देव धर्म प्रभु की इस जय पताका स्वामी महाराज जय की श्रीला प्रभुपाद की कल्पतरुवश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो हरे राम everyone please हरे राम हरे राम हरे राम बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.
Thank you so much to His Grace Ajitananda Prabhu and His Grace Deva Dharma Prabhu. Join with the Gauranga Yatra, and thank you so much to all the devotees for joining today. Hope you all enjoyed today. Small, thank you to Gauranga Yatra. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.